Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite Gimp with the Limp and my little guest host.
Not a little guest host, I'm a
Well,
big deal.
You're small, physically.
Gimpys Gal.
Yes, she's back. And we're doing another one of these little quarantine diaries where we just sit around and chat about anything that pops up into our heads. And we were talking about something earlier, so we're going to have that kind of be the focus. And it's just going to be another little ramble, just extra content for you guys. Like I said, we're only doing this just for you all, just so you have something to listen to during all this time when everyone's cooped up at home.
Hopefully only for another week and a half, because I think our state's opening on the 1st. But even, like we said, if you guys like this enough, we could continue this after the quarantine is over. But if you see me look down, I have my live going. So if you haven't and you're on Facebook, go to Gimpys Gal's page or the group or whatever. I think it's a page, and like it, because sometimes we hop on there, do lives. We've got this going, so if anybody has a question, they can ask a question kind of thrown in the mix with it. So yeah, I guess today we're talking about...
Before we do that, I am going to put something in the title. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, but it's an experiment I'm doing to see what's the deal with YouTube, because
we talked about this in our last Q&A. So if you watched our last Diaries, if you watched the last one, you'll know why he put this specific thing in the title, but this video has nothing to do with that. We should have probably put that in the very beginning.
Yes. Not going to have anything to do with her. We're not talking about her drama or any of that crap that we talked about previously. I'm just putting it in there to see if YouTube demonetizes this video.
Just based on the title.
Yes,
without even
immediately
watching any part of our video.
Because, strangely enough, they did not demonetize part 2 of the Quarantine Diaries. So I'm going to see if they demonetize part 3, then I will know for a fact, and I'm going to let a guy know who's been doing all the coverage on this, that they're demonetizing people just for having that name in the title, period.
All right, so we're not talking about that person. Maybe you should put like a disclaimer in the very beginning, like the first 10 seconds of the video. I think you should put a disclaimer, so that way if they watch even 10 seconds of the video, they'll know we're not talking about that person.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what we're going to kind of talk about today, if we're on the same page, which I think we are, is kind of like the modern day take on like dating and relationships and marriage and family and kind of modern day feminism. I mean, we're not really talking about feminists, but it kind of ties into it because they're a huge part of this different way of thinking. And they kind of have coined themselves as modern day feminists. And this is kind of how they, tell me if I'm wrong, but what he wants to really talk about is how nowadays, like when we got married, I was 20 years old. She was a baby. You were what, 26, 27?
I was 26.
So I was very young. I turned 21 like 3 months after we got married. So I was very, very young.
Yeah, it was kind of funny on the cruise ship when we went on our honeymoon.
And he had to get my beverages.
Because they didn't care if she drank when she was 20. I just couldn't
get them with my card.
And we weren't thinking we gave the bellboy or whoever her room ID to get us some drinks. And he comes back, he's like, "Oh, sir, I can't get drinks using her card. You have card?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, no problem."
We thought they were going to bring us back 1 drink, and he still brought us back 2 drinks.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He got a tip.
Point is, we were young, right? But I still feel like my generation, well, half of my generation, I guess, because I've kind of noticed this with like the girls in my high school. We were talking about this earlier, how like half the girls from my high school are married, have had families, are on like their 2nd, 3rd plus kids, and they're settled and established. And then half of them are just now getting married. We're in our 30s, our early 30s. And so it's a kind of a split. So I think my generation anyway, kind of split. But basically talking about people who like relationships just aren't as important anymore. The family isn't a value anymore.
No, it's more about, it's one of the biggest values. It's the biggest value.
But I'm saying that these modern day, people who claim they're woke or whatever you want to label them as, they want to go out and have their younger years be all about them. So they want to go out bar hopping and they think that sleeping around is acceptable. Whereas when I was younger, even though there were people who were more promiscuous, and I'm sure even with you, there's people that are more promiscuous. It's going to happen.
I was those people.
Yeah. But for me, it still mattered. Like, sex wasn't just sex. It wasn't just something that you just did. Like, it meant something. And they've really tried to steer us away from that thinking. So girls nowadays, and I know some, I'm related to some that think this way, that it's just a tool. It's just something that happens between two people. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship. It doesn't matter if you care about them. Just sleep around and use your younger years. So your teens, your 20s, sleep around to date. Do you focus on what you want? Don't settle down. Don't settle for one person. Don't start a family. Focus on you and your wants and your career. And then what these people are starting to find is that by the time they get to be my age, they no longer can have those things that they thought they didn't want. And
well, you're saying your age. Them. I mean, you're rather young.
Yeah, but we've both agreed that my age isn't where you would really technically want to be.
You don't want to start.
We're on our third, possibly more kids, but
that's the thing. I think, and specifically speaking,
camera.
What?
I said possibly more kids if you didn't oppose. So I was like, ha ha ha, got it on camera. Well, the proof is in the pudding.
It kind of gets me what I want. I don't necessarily want the kid, but I don't necessarily object to making the kid. So.
You might want to X that out of the video. I don't really want the kid. So whenever I end up pregnant, they're going to be like,
18 years of daddy buy me this and daddy wipe my shitty butt.
Anyways.
Don't get me wrong. I love my kids to death. Don't get me wrong. But I think, and this is like our opinion on it, that a lot of women have just been lied to. And guys too, for that matter, but it tremendously hurts women when it comes to this because they have this idea. Don't worry about putting me on Facebook.
You're talking, so I don't want me to be talking. Well, it's pointing at me.
Anyway, I think they've been lied to. That they think they can do this, that, or the other. And I'll get into specifics. And they've got all the time in the world, and they're being told, "Oh no, you don't have to worry about trying to settle down till you're in your 30s." And it's really not that way. And I've heard someone explain it this way, and I think it's a very apt explanation: is that women are born rich and men are born poor, and then that transitions over time. And
hold on, let me stop you for just one quick second, then you can continue. What? Some people watching this, I doubt people watching this would think this, but if there are some women or some people who stumble upon this for whatever reason. He's not misogynistic at all. And so sometimes he just sometimes says things without thinking about how someone else might interpret them. So just to put that out there, he's not misogynistic. He doesn't think that like men get better and women get worse.
No.
He's just speaking like bluntly and honestly.
I think they complement each other. The things were made a certain way so people could work together and complement each other in different ways. And the severe truth of it is that women do provide a lot, but one of the things is their fertility. They bear the children. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what happens. And unfortunately speaking, women have a clock. They can't take forever. They can't wait until their 40s or 50s to start a family, while a guy can. A guy can have kids all the way until he drops dead, physically speaking. And I think a lot of these women have been lied to. Okay, for example, there was a young lady. Stop leaning against my sign, baby girl.
Sorry.
It's kind of propped up there with Play-Doh. It is not verb. But there's this young lady. Here, don't text away on it, babe.
I'm not texting. I was commenting on the live. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Do you?
See how women have been lied to? This attitudinal problem here?
It's not attitude. Just go.
Anyway. There was this young lady I was watching, and she's just a couple of years younger than me. She's in her mid-30s, and she was complaining about how all men are immature, and they're boys, and they don't know what they want. And she wants, I admit it, I wholeheartedly, that...
Well, men on average are. That's why younger, older relationships, girl being younger, guy being older, tend to work.
Well, and the woman was fairly attractive. I mean, she wasn't ugly by any means. But she's in her mid-30s, and she says that she's looking for a guy in the range of like 33, 34 to 37, 38. And she's
very specific. It was like 34 to 37.
Yeah. That's the age range that she's looking for. And it's like, darling, I hate to tell you, I mean, the severe truth of it, but the list, and because she's even saying that she's raised her standards. And it's like, no, ma'am, you can't be raising your standards in your mid-30s.
It's not that you can't. There are people out there who find the love of their life in their 30s. I was telling you, my cousin is a prime example. He was going to medical school. He's younger than his wife. I don't know by how many years. But she was definitely in her mid to late 30s when they got married and started their family. So it can happen. He's not saying like this is the rule and this is how it is. And that if you're in your 30s and you're single, like tough, you're going to be single if you're a woman unless you lower your standards. That's not what he's saying. But the way that people do things nowadays and the way that the things that you have access to, it's like, nobody wants to give their best years in order to get the best back from their, like, that's what he's trying to explain. It's like, I gave him my best years, my younger years when I was, more fit and attractive, and I bared his children. And so whenever I'm not as physically fit and he's provided me this life, then I will benefit that. Like, that's,
but I didn't have then what I have now either.
I didn't like
when we were young and together,
retire.
It wasn't like I was swinging a 6-figure salary.
Yeah, we barely lived paycheck to paycheck for a good number of our years together.
But we were loyal to each other at all times. Good times, bad times. There was times that she was working and I wasn't. I was working, she wasn't. We went through all that stuff, but we stayed loyal to each other through all of it. So now in her later years, when she couldn't...
later years.
You got to be realistic about these things. You're not 19. I'm not 19. I couldn't go out and just
men who are watching this, because I know it's mostly men watching this, please tell me that even you are smart enough to know that you should never tell your wife that at your age, or you're not 19 anymore. You think, I don't know, I'm not 19 anymore?
How often do I call it you? It's like a daily thing.
But you keep insisting on saying this thing of like, at your age, women should be
The whole
blah,
point
blah, blah.
of the conversation is that women shouldn't be starting a relationship in their 30s.
It's harder.
That's not their rich years.
Yeah, it's harder to. And even aside from just that part of it,
the math doesn't add up.
No, when you spend all your younger years when you should be out dating, and the pool, like, I guess what he was kind of saying is the pool is like this when you first go into the dating world, and it's everyone your age and older, and people that have been divorced or a little bit younger. Like, you have this big giant pool of people to choose from, and I think there are more women than men, right?
Available?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's more women.
Especially younger, it's kind of about even, but when you get to available quality, women far outweigh the men, especially when you hit 30s. So there's more quality women available than there are quality men.
So yeah, so you're already at a disadvantage because there's all these women fighting for the same type of guys. But when you're younger, you have the ability to date people and kind of see what you like, and you can change if you thought you wanted, a certain type of person in a certain career or a certain political view or certain religious views, and you date someone and realize that's not really a match for me. Like, you can test it out, you can try it out, you can have higher standards because there is more to choose from. But then once you get older, the ones that you would deem, or that I would deem if I was single now, what I would deem as reasonable and acceptable for someone that I would want to settle down with, most of them would be taken at this point. Most of them would be married with a wife, with families, and not interested in starting a relationship. And it's hard, especially for women, because there are all these dating apps and websites now, and you're not just competing with other women that are your age. You're now competing with women that are much younger than you. Speaking
of which, to carry on talking about the young lady I was speaking of earlier, who's in her mid-30s, I felt bad for her because she's just sobbing. I mean, sobbing over this because she's so distraught because she really wants to find a spouse. She really wants to settle down and have kids and do that whole thing. But let's say she's 34. Well, you start dating someone. You date for a year or two. So now she's looking like 36. Then you get engaged. Then you get married. So maybe 37, 38. So she's close to her 40s by the time she's actually trying to have children. It's not an instantaneous process. And she is now trying to kind of skip those steps because when she goes on the first date, like, she's wanting to tell the guy right off the bat, I want to get married. I want to have kids.
Because she's on a time limit now.
Yeah. And she wants to tell him that and wants to know from him, is this what you want? Because if not, get out. I can't waste my time. And that's my point on it, is that I'm 100% positive that when this woman was in her mid-20s, that she probably dated guys that she would kill for now and friend-zoned them.
She probably just thought the grass was greener. That's the
hypergamy
main thing
is
girls
huge.
Most women, when they're dating, they don't stick with what they have because they think there is something better out there, or because they just want to go out and have fun with the girls. They don't want to be tied down, whatever. We do have a comment, though. It kind of makes my point of that it does happen for some people. Matthew said, I found the love of my life at 35 after a failed long-term relationship. We've been together for 14 years. Kicker is, We met on an online dating site, so
That's how people
happens.
meet now.
No. I'm saying that we were just talking about how it's harder, but it does happen. I feel like if you have a soulmate, because we
Swipe
absolutely
right.
believe in soulmates, you will find that person, whether you find them when you're young or old. Like, you will eventually find the person that you are meant to be with. The point that he's trying to make that I don't necessarily agree 100% with is that, like, if women can't find quality guys when they're older. You can. It's just a lot harder. And
it's extremely harder
Yeah, it's
because you have to
harder.
compete with women 10 years younger than
but
you
my main
who
thing,
don't have children or baggage or a previous marriage.
My main thing isn't so much about, like, when you look at dating, and my thing is more so these women go out and celebrate, like, I'm single because I want to be single and I want to focus on me and my career and I want to sleep around and it's my body and I can sleep with who I want to sleep with, and you know, it shouldn't affect you but when you will, because at some
it
point
affects them.
Well, when at some point, most people, not all people, most people will have a point in their life where they'll go, you know what, I really would like to have someone to share my life with, coming home to, you know, nothing, or to a dog or a cat or whatever, or a roommate. This is not doing it. I'd like to have someone to share my life with, have a family, have children. And if you wait too long, and it is going to be really hard to find it. And you may end up with someone that you are settling for because you feel there's nothing else out there. Like, it's just hard. I would not want to be dating in today's world the way it is.
Let's hypothetical
No.
and say that you didn't exist for whatever reason. Knock on wood, because I would die if anything happened to her. It's my world right here, whole world. And I hope you feel the same way. But let's say she didn't exist. If I were to look for a woman now, I would be looking for a woman in the 25 to 30 range, all right, age range. And I would want her to not have children to take care of. No previous
if he was
spouses.
single without children, is what he's saying.
No,
Not if he had children.
Right now with the kids, 100%. Because I look at
so she can't bring kids to the table, but you could.
I look at what I bring to the table versus what she brings to the table.
You don't know what she could be bringing, a 6-figure income.
Just hypothetical. A woman with a 6-figure income is not going to probably go after me because she could do better. She could get the 6-pack and the 6-figure income. True. Women date up. They don't date down. Women always date up. Don't squint those eyes.
No, because that's insulting to me.
What?
You're saying women date up, so they date better than themselves, so you're better.
They never want to settle. No woman wants to settle. Every woman wants to reach for the stars.
We can have the King of Queens reacher and settler conversation later. I'm
not saying that you're a reacher or I'm a settler. I think that we hit our match here, okay? I'm trying to diplomatically not get myself on the couch any more than I am now on it. But what I'm saying is, let's say what my point is, I'm bringing to the table. I'm bringing to the table a fully paid off house. I'm bringing to the table the fact that she could be a stay-at-home mom so she could effectively retire tomorrow. What?
Just because you meet someone and you have that, like, that doesn't mean they would have this. You would have the same life.
I'm not starting from scratch. I have accumulated wealth.
We agree on pretty much everything.
Is what I'm saying.
And I get what he's saying, but sometimes I do think that he does have a little more.
I just look at it logically.
Really old school that can come across as misogynistic, even though he's not.
It's not misogynistic to want the best for people,
no,
I think.
But, okay, for example.
I want women to excel. I want them to do well just like I want men to excel. If everyone in this country does well, everyone benefits.
I don't know. It just sounds like... I don't know.
I think too many people in today's world are so worried about being PC and pussyfooting around the truth. They're terrified of hurting someone's feelings that they might not. Some. I'm not talking about assholes who just rude. People who are afraid to say a critical truth because they might offend someone or might hurt someone's feelings. People need to understand this. I want to teach my kids the truth of the world so they can have their best possible shot to succeed. Yeah. Right?
That's where the whole family part of it comes into, too. With this whole them marrying later and trying to find the love of their life later thing, they're not having the family lifestyle that most of their friends would be married and have kids already. And it's hard to be friends with someone who is single and doesn't have kids when you have kids. And not to mention the whole, just the value of the family just in general is just like people downplay it. People insult me and like pity me or make fun of me because I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, well, I want to do more with my life than just be a wife and a mother. Like, that's all I ever wanted to be. Like, me and my best friend, one of my best friends lives next door to us, and she's a stay-at-home mom, and she homeschools her kids too, just like we do. And we talked about how there are people who look at us and they like pity us, like, oh, you poor thing, like you don't have your own job, and like all you do is take care of kids and clean the house. Like, man, I would hate to stay home all the time. I have to have a job and contribute to my family. And her and I are on the same page as far as when we were younger, this was our dream. So don't feel sorry for me because I'm living my dream. There was never a job that I had growing up that I was like, I'm so thankful that I'm coming to work and not sitting at home with my family all day. I'm so thankful. And I'm so glad that when I do have kids, I'm not going to get to raise them and I'm going to get to go to work. No, this is what I wanted to do. It's not easy.
And you do it well.
It is not easy. I am not perfect at it. I lose my temper all the time. It's hard. But going to work is hard too. My point is that it's a choice, but it's like, it used to be what you would want. If you wanted a family, you wanted the family where the daddy worked and the mommy stayed home. But now nobody wants that. So these women, we talked about simps earlier. We were talking about them earlier. And they're the guys.
Were you watching the Boomer Girl video? Was that it?
No, this was just some other parody thing on YouTube where they were basically saying that definition of it is a guy who makes himself exclusively available to a girl, and she's not really bringing anything to his life. So he gives her money, he gives her gifts.
She's not putting out.
She's not sleeping with him. She's not dating him. She's not doing anything for him. He just feels like they have a connection, so he keeps doing it. And that's another problem with why women aren't settling down earlier, or because they have these guys like this that are just going to throw stuff at them.
Yeah.
Why get married and settle down and have kids and whatever when you could have all these other guys give you stuff and you don't have to give them anything in return?
Exactly.
There's no secrecy anymore. Anything. You could go on YouTube, or not on YouTube, but you could go on Google and Google any fantasy that you're having and find it out there. So it's hard.
And how would you know this?
Everybody knows this. My point is, it's just the family unit isn't what it used to be, and traditional, gender stereotypes are not what they used to be. And if you're not a working woman who's single until you're in your 30s, then you're an anti-feminist, and they feel sorry for you. And the woman should be the breadwinner, and they should be equal, and the chores should be equal in the house.
It can happen that way if that's what you want.
But it is, to your point, it's going to be harder to find someone who's willing to say, okay, yeah, we both work, or I work and you stay home, but we'll split the chores 50-50. That's not going to be easy to find.
What women want, all right? Everybody's heard I friggin' know what women want, right? They want at least 6 feet tall, 6-pack abs, 6-figure salary, at least 6 inches. They've got that little criteria, and it's a joke, but it's a joke because it's relatively true, right? That women want that. Most women do not want a guy that's shorter than them. The thing of it is, though. If I were shorter than you, like even an inch or two, would we be together? Probably not.
Probably not. Because if I wear high enough heels, I'm like your height, and that bugs me. So
only if I'm in heels. Like flat. Well, I say barefoot. Flats, but like barefoot. Yeah.
I'm a tall girl. I would be taller if my back wasn't, shaped like an ass. I would be taller, but thankfully it is, so I'm a little bit shorter.
Thank you. God gave you a twist, so everything worked out fine. No, but girls have like the list of requirements. The problem with that, though, is that the pool of guys that meet that requirement is already really tiny, right? Good-looking guys that meet all that stuff and have a buttload of money.
Because those guys are going to pick the girls that are like the Instagram models.
That's what I'm saying. If you have all that, you're not going for the woman in her 30s. So if you wait and you have your fun in your 20s, and then you're in your mid-30s and you're wanting to settle down,
just be prepared that your all of your qualifications are probably not going to be met.
Yeah, but you'd be lucky to get one of them at that point.
You're going to be single if you refuse to date someone that doesn't make 6 figures when you're that's the point he's trying to make, when you're in your mid-30s. And because let's face it, men do age better than women. And I'm a woman saying this. Women do not age as well, and it is not fair.
I think you've aged very well.
And it's really not fair that other ethnicities, women age really nicely, and their skin is beautiful, and ours starts to turn. Asian women, black women, even Mexican women. Like, there's plenty of them that are just
So
gorgeous.
that friend of ours, she's not human. She's a fairy. She doesn't count.
And I'm talking about my old boss at GMAC. Her skin was like, she was in like her late 40s, early 50s, and her skin was literally perfect. And she could.
Yeah, that was the one that I couldn't tell her age, right?
Leilani, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't. I thought she was like in her 20s or something.
I'm telling you. But anyway, point being, women don't age the same as men. So that's what he means when he's saying, like, you give your best, because men, let's face it, let's just talk candidly here.
Yeah, like we have been doing that one.
Looks matter. If you say that if you went into a bar or a restaurant or wherever you meet people and there was somebody that was completely unattractive to you,
sponsor us,
and someone that you found incredibly attractive, that you would look at the two of them and you would go to the person who was less attractive because you thought, well, they could be a nice person on the inside. No, you're going to go for the person you are attracted to. Even when you're looking at like a friend group, it's been proven that you're more likely to go to someone who's clean shaven and looks clean and smells nice and is dressed not clean shaven, but I mean just clean, like cleaned up, like not tattered up and unshowered and unkempt is what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Rolling out of bed looking like hell and smelling like ass?
Yes. Basically. But anyway, that is the bottom line of it, is that looks do matter. Are they all that matters? No. But they do matter. So that's what he's saying, is that because they do matter, because they do, especially nowadays, again, on the dating apps, that's all you're judging on, really. If you think that people are reading what you have to say, they're looking at your picture first, and then they might go read what you have to say.
Speaking about that, I got to make a little sidetracked point, because I watched this little documentary they did where they did an experiment and they took this, a handful of guys, like really good looking model type guys, pictures, and they got enough pictures to make it look like real profile. And then they put like pedophilic shit down in the description that the guy had been busted.
Oh, let's not go into details. I don't want you to get like demonetized for that.
No, it's nothing like that. That it was voluntary. It was what's the C word I'm looking for? She consented to it. Like, it was all consensual.
Like choice?
Yeah, I couldn't remember the damn word. It was consensual. There was nothing bad like that, but she was a bit young. And there was a couple times, and I still like really bad stuff. Stuff that should just like turn any woman off.
Not to get gross, I'm assuming the woman still clicked on the picture because.
Oh my God! These profiles were getting swipe right, swipe right, swipe right. All of the girls were like messaging like, "Hey, you want to meet up? Here's my address." And it's like, what are you thinking?
That is the problem.
They'll just jump right on it.
Speaking on that whole thing, that is more to do with, in my opinion, younger kids having access to things. Like, we didn't have cell phones when we were 12 years old.
I didn't get a cell phone until I was in college.
I was driving before I had a cell phone, and it was a prepaid phone that I had to prepay for. When I ran out of minutes, and all I had access to was 911, and that was it. Fine. It's different days. I get that. But they have access to these apps and things, and they're going on there, and there's predators on these apps. Like, TikTok is a bunch of young... Well, it's kind of everybody now, but when it first started, it was a bunch of like young teenage girls.
Yeah, every ad I saw was a teenage girl twerking.
Yeah, and then you have these old, guys that are predating on them, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a totally different world. I would not want to be starting out, even if I was, 10 years younger, I wouldn't want to be starting out in the dating scene nowadays. Just, it seems like it's just a whole different world. When we first started dating, online dating was very small. There was a few websites maybe, and most people tended to avoid those just because they had more of a negative connotation to them, and you could meet someone dangerous. And I think there had probably been a couple of murders from them, so everyone was like, don't do online dating. And if you did meet your spouse online, you never told anyone that you met them online. And now it's like that's how everybody meets. It is that we are living in like this virtual world where everything is through social media and apps, and it's a just completely different world. But it's not just affecting like dating and how women approach their dating life and their life in general, but it's affecting families and just everything. It's ripping the church apart. The
big thing is, I think too many people, like I said, have been lied to. They've got this wrong idea of how things are going to turn out, and they get slapped in the face with reality when they find out they don't have the options available to them that they thought they were going to have at that age. They thought, I'll hit 30, 32 years old, and I'll settle down, I'll find a good man, and I'll have kids then. And it's like, no, you're looking for a guy now who's 40, 42 years old and hoping that works out. You're not finding guys who are 30, that have good jobs and want to settle down like that, you know? Or maybe he's got kids.
It's like we were talking about earlier. Just go ahead.
People are going to be like, oh, so this is what happens. This is the part that gets edited out that we don't see. All right. So anyway, what we were talking about is I really do think it comes down to that it's these unrealistic expectations. And like I said, I felt so bad for that young lady who is 34 now, and she really, really wants to start her life, and she wants to have kids, and she wants to do all that. But she really didn't understand that she needed to start that journey in her 20s, not in her mid-30s.
It's okay for her to be upset about it because, yeah, everybody wants that. And she's not wrong for what she chose to do. She just has to understand that it's like we were talking about earlier, how people have this like entitled sense about things nowadays, right? Not just about like their freedoms and their rights and patriotic things like that. But now it's about like dating and families and like what you're going to get when you're older. And they assume that you're going to that you'll find someone. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how many people you've slept with or, you know, whatever. You will find somebody because everybody is entitled to that. And even she said in her video, she's entitled to love, right?
Yeah, she did say that.
It's a gift. It's not an entitlement.
No, it's something that you've got to work for
at every day.
And I think a lot of them don't understand that men look for different things than women look. Like a man wants a successful woman, but that isn't like the same type of success. A man isn't necessarily looking for a woman that has a large salary. If she has one, that's great, but that's not a requirement. Most men don't care what the woman makes. Like, I've never been really that concerned. If you brought in money, it was great.
I didn't care either, though. I wasn't one of those like gold digger women. I could never. We talked about this before too. Women who go out, and that's another
You're
thing.
an enigma.
Women who go out and who date rich men and they use their looks to date these rich men and get money and get gifts. Good for you. Like, use what you got. Like he said, those are your best years. And she's using them to invest in her future. She's getting money, gifts, cars, whatever she's getting.
Now, I don't think she should like cheat her way into it. But if some rich guy wants to pay her,
it's like a single
for her
sugar daddy type of thing, not a married man, but like a single rich guy that just wants some arm candy, and they understand that this is not a relationship. Yeah. It's symbiotic, and that he's going to pay her, and she'll provide him with company. Then that's fine. Like, do you? That's fine.
More power to
But it's like feminists nowadays, modern day feminists, whatever you want to call them, have this whole mindset of in order to be feminist, you can't be in a relationship. Don't depend on a guy. They say I will never depend on a guy.
Men and women need each other. They need each other.
I don't depend on him because I have to, and he doesn't depend on me because he has to. Because like we're not whole without the other. We do that because we want to, and we do feel empty without the other because we love each other and we want to be that for each other. We want the other to be that for us. It's not because I'm so destitute and so stupid that I could never survive on my own. It's that I want to share my life with him, and that is why I depend on him, and that is why I look to him as the head of our household, as old school as people might think that is. That's why he is that in our home, not because, you know, I'm a submissive wife that has been beaten into submission.
No, sure as hell.
It's because I trust him and respect him, and that's what I want. So this whole mindset that they have that affects their dating life is if you date and you settle down when you're young and you get married when you're young, you're an anti-feminist and you are just pushing this agenda, the straight agenda and whatever and toxic masculinity and blah blah blah, and it's just not true. Those are the lies I feel like he says women are being told. That dating and settling down means that you're not a feminist, that you don't support women, that you are completely reliant on a man, that you're weak, you're pathetic. And those are the lies that women are being told.
The thing is like, say the woman doesn't want that, like she doesn't want kids or doesn't want a husband. More power to her. Do you think?
Marriage is
whatever
for
you
everyone.
want.
A relationship is for everyone. There's plenty of people.
You don't have to get married. You don't have to do any of that crap. Or if you want to be your own breadwinner, you want to start your own company, it's America. It's free. You can do whatever the hell you want. More power to you.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
But don't hate on those who want something different.
Yeah, you can work a job if you want to work a job. You can close your business if you want to close your business. Like those things,
don't change the subject.
Those are right.
Stay on topic. Stay on topic.
To be made.
I gotta do a little Star Wars meme right there. You go, stay on topic. You don't even know what part of Star Wars I'm talking about, do you? No, are you serious? You should know this. It's one of the movies you've seen. It's the first one.
It's been so long. One thing I know from that is, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. That's all I know from that.
When they're going in against the Death Star and they're going down the Death Trench and they're trying to put the proton torpedoes down the tube to blow up the Death Star, and the bad TIE fighters are coming in from behind and they're getting shot at, and the guy's getting ready to take the shot and he's like, stay on target. Yeah, way off target, but she doesn't know this.
Well, how do you not know Star Wars? Someone told me to shoot myself earlier, but
yeah, she hasn't let it go. She got a mean comment on Facebook, and it's just been like,
it's not a dagger. It's not bothering me that it. Like, I'm so sad from it. It pisses me off that that's how people treat each other.
Well, people are.
But that's part of today's world. Is just people just don't care. People don't care about friendships. They don't care about other people's feelings. They don't care about how something might affect someone else. They don't think about the future and tomorrow. And these women that are out dating and sleeping around in their 20s, while they might be having fun then, and they might be getting their rocks off, and might be fun and exciting, when they do reach their 30s and they think, you know what, I'd like to settle down and meet someone. All those guys they had slept with in the past who are probably married with kids now, those are the guys they obviously wanted to be with because they were with them for a brief time, are not available anymore.
I can't.
And the ones that are available, you have to wonder, well, why is there a 40-year-old guy that's rich and single? Probably an asshole.
I can't remember what it was. It was a commercial or an ad or maybe a little skit or something. I want to say it was a commercial advertised about, I have no idea what it'd be advertising for. And it shows this little girl's birthday party. Like, the little girls are like 5 and 6 years old. And there's this older woman there who's 28, I think, 28, 29 years old. And she's talking to these little girls. And the little birthday girl just burns her because they were talking about relationships. And the 29-year-old's like, I am not old. Because I think the young girls called her old or something. She's like, I am in my prime. And she's like, the little 5-year-old's like, no, honey, you're not. And goes off on this tangent about how, you know, you're single and you're almost 30. Imagine if you start dating right now. Even if you were to meet a guy tomorrow, it would take 2-3 years to get to the point where you propose, and then another couple of years before you're married, and then hopefully you be trying to have a child by the time you're 40. And like, she just
like she's
when she adds up the years,
the Yoda
like
of dating.
Yeah, it's cute because it's this little 5-year-old girl who's saying this, and the woman's just getting this like long look on her face as she just starts, burning her.
It's a hard pill for girls to swallow. Like, I was watching TikToks today. I don't partake in TikToks. I just watch them because they're funny. But there was this one that was like millennials on TikTok, and she was walking up like a grandma. Well, we are both technically what you would consider millennials. He's at like the very...
I'm not. I'm Gen X.
No, you're at the very tail end of it. It's like
I'm
80,
Gen friggin' X.
Maybe you are. Maybe you're not even in my generation, because I think it's 82, 83 to like, I don't know, 90-something.
Whatever.
Is a millennial, which I used to be so mad that I was considered a millennial, but I'm glad I'm not considered today's youth. Anyway, point is the girl looked my age, and she's going like, millennials on TikTok be like, what is this? And then they were talking about like, you guys think you have TikTok dances? Like, let's throw it back. And they threw it back, and it was like, lean with it, rock with it, lean with it. And it was like Soulja Boy, all the songs that me and I danced to on our honeymoon. They were dancing in this like throwback oldies video. And I'm like, I really am not as young as I thought.
I think that's the point you can actually determine that you're starting to hit your later years is when you start seeing music that you listened to in the car when you were a teenager,
like
early 20s.
Or they throw
and now it's on the classic station.
Or
now
they use it as a throwback Thursday song. Let's throw it on way on back to the 90s here. Like this woman said.
Hearing Nirvana on, I'm like, oh yeah. Teen Spirit, I like that.
This woman said her son was like, you're old. And she was like, I am not old. He's like, Mom, you were born in the 1900s. You're old. And I'm just like, we're in 2020. That's insane to think that like we're in 2020 and people are like, you were born in the 1900s. What was it like when dinosaurs roamed the earth? Like, these kids really act like you're so ancient, but it's so funny because those are the same ones that choose not to get married until they're this ancient. It's funny, right? It's like, it's ironic because
they're crying about it.
Society tells you, don't date and marry when you're in your 20s. Go out and sleep around, use your body and have fun and experiment, because that's what sex is for, right? But then you got this chick on a YouTube video.
Well, it's not just her. I've seen multiple videos. Many women who are complaining because they can't find what they call a quality man. And it's like, darling, you're just not being realistic. You have to look at what you're bringing to the table versus what you want him to bring to the table. And it's pretty much like, at this point, and sorry, you start off like this and you're used to this. But when it does the flip, all of a sudden you still expect to bring in the top quality grade A.
Yeah.
But, you're, what is it, USDA choice? Is that the bad? Is that the bad
the
one?
wedding singer. No, that's the good one.
Whatever it is. Yeah, I'm sure someone's going to comment down below that I'm sexist or something like that.
That's why I prefaced it by saying that you're not. Because you're really
I'm really not.
You're just
like,
speaking candidly here, realistically.
I think people suffer because they're not told the truth. Because
everyone gets trophies nowadays and nobody loses. And there's even some leagues where they don't keep score anymore. Because like he said, everyone's afraid to hurt everyone else's feelings. And
I got my feelings hurt all the time. I asked, would you like to dance? No.
Oh, I was told I was the ugliest thing that ever lived. That no makeup would ever help me. That Well,
I'm glad they knocked your self-esteem down a bit. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to hit
One
this
other
high.
thing I wanted to say before, because we've been going for like 45 minutes now, is that I think it's funny, and you've mentioned this before too, that you think it's funny. The women that you do see, not all of them. Again, this is not us like lumping everybody and painting them with one broad brush. We're just speaking about people that we've seen, and not everyone. But some of the women who are older, in their 30s or older, who are still single, who have cats or don't have cats or have a live-in roommate or they live at home with their parents, and they make these YouTube videos and they claim that they're feminists, that they're single because they want to be, that they don't need a man, they don't want a man. But then when you go and look at their behind-the-scenes stuff, or they think that they're not recording but they still are, you find out that it's not so much that they don't want the men, it's that they can't get the men.
Yeah.
So they pretend like, oh, it's not important to me. But really, if they had a good man, offer you a life, you're not going to turn it down. Or a woman, whatever your preference is. Whatever.
It's less important for them,
choice,
though. You got to think about it. It's for lesbians, I have no idea how it would work. But I know it's not the same thing as a traditional straight relationship. Because a man is going to be looking for a woman's fertility. That's the big thing that he wants from her. Another woman isn't going to care about that. So I don't think these rules apply.
No, they do. I have a girl that I went to high school with, and her wife just had a baby. It was a very long, expensive process. And we're not here to talk about gay marriage or babies or whatever. We were just talking about just the difference in thinking.
How does it work, though? Like in a lesbian relationship with
She's
both women? No. I don't mean the procreation.
Egg.
I get it. I mean the hypergamy. Because women always want to reach for that better thing. So if you've got both of them doing the reaching, there's a crossover there. That can't work.
No, because I don't know. Let's not get into that because you'll start getting offensive and you don't care about getting offensive or not. And I care. So let's just stop. You don't care.
I don't want to hurt people's
feelings. Point is, we just wanted to talk about today just the difference in thinking across the board with dating, with marriages, with families, how Duck Dynasty and the Duggars were attacked. And it's like, there really wasn't anything to attack them for other than that they were good, wholesome shows that people craved. People wanted to see that tight family unit.
The 19 kids. Mm-hmm. There was some stuff to say about them.
I really don't think that what happened with them was that big of a deal. We're talking about something that happened like 20-something years ago.
It should have been blasted all over TV. No.
That ruined their whole lives over because someone wanted to expose them. Duck Dynasty,
as far as I could tell, they seem like wholesome people.
He didn't get it. He didn't understand being gay. Like, it wasn't for him. He liked women and he just didn't understand it. There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And that is a huge part of just the problem today with dating.
We said earlier that those shows took off and did so well because the people as a whole, like the country as a whole, is craving wholesome. They want Little House on the Prairie. They want the people saying grace before dinner and that wholesome family experience. They want it and they might not even realize it.
Like we've even both said that what we want in our future is what his grandparents had and what my grandparents have. In a long, committed, stable relationship where they're growing old together, seeing their grandkids and their great grandkids hopefully playing and enjoying their life. And that's what we want. I don't want to be alone one day because I spent my whole youth out sleeping around with a bunch of people.
I want to be creeping through the hall with my cane, my back hunched over, dog's not split over, hunching along, saying, "Shut up, you old bat," and yelling at her and her yelling at me and smack each other. It'd be fun. Sit on the porch, drink our coffee.
Yeah. I don't know. It just bugs me today just how, in general, I don't want to raise our kids that, you know, even a little bit off topic, but kind of along the lines of it with this whole different mindset about dating and relationships and sleeping with each other. We were taught abstinence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now if you say that, they like laugh at like that's a joke. Like, are you kidding me? That is not a viable option for birth control. Abstinence? Not doing it? Are you serious? That is so unrealistic.
Well, for some
I'm
people,
gonna teach my kids that.
It's not a choice. It just kind of happens.
I'm going to teach my kids that. And that's a huge part of why these women are living how they're living, because people are telling them that sex doesn't matter, that it doesn't matter who you sleep with and if you're in a relationship or not. I know people that I know in my life, and I'm not going to say their relationship to them, that their first time was with someone they weren't in a relationship with, and they were barely into high school. They weren't in high school. I just don't get it. I just don't understand where it changed. Where did settling down and marrying your high school sweetheart or marrying your college sweetheart, where did that go from being a beautiful thing that everyone wanted and wished they had to something that is laughed at and like, oh, wow, you're weak, you're pathetic because, oh, wow, I'm 31 and I've been married for 10 years. Like, oh, you poor thing, you missed out. Like, when did that change happen? And it bugs me. And it bugs me that it's women mostly that are behind it.
Yeah.
Like the ones that I see actively campaigning against specifically straight relationships, not always, but specifically that seems to be the main target, is these women out here who claim to be modern day feminists, have a problem with relationships, and it probably boils down to the fact that they either never had a good one or I don't know.
Well, you know what part of my theory is, without dragging off, because this will lead to another topic, but the short answer is that, decades ago, if a woman were to get pregnant young and unwed, she would be, SOL, like fully SOL if her parents didn't step up and help her out, if the guy was bad and bolted, if he didn't do the right thing, right? And nowadays, a woman is less likely to be in a bad position because there's so many state options and charity options and stuff like that. And it's not that I want them to be in a bad position, but I think that women had to make a better choice on who they have relations with, because they were going to be stuck with the consequences of that choice.
Yeah, like
if things went badly.
I paid attention to that when I was in high school and did not sleep with people because I'm like, do I really want to risk possibly getting pregnant and being stuck with this person for the rest of my life when I'm still in high school?
Yeah, is he going to be there for me? Is he going to pay for diapers?
But then I think it was right after we got married, Teen Mom came along. And that's another one of these things that just fantasize that whole teen mom lifestyle. And all these girls nowadays think like there's all those shows on Maury and Jerry Springer where like, I'm 13 and I want to have a baby because I want to stay home and I already got my baby a pacifier and a bottle. I'm ready for him. Go look it up. Those videos exist. But yeah, it's these lies and these things that the media and Hollywood is putting out there that like, look, even if you have your kid when you're young, it's okay because you can just get on a hit MTV show and be paid for that. You can be paid for being a teenage mom and it's okay. That wasn't the point of the show. In
a high school somewhere that it got found out they were all trying to like get pregnant all at the same time, and they were all like mid-teenagers, like sophomore or junior or something like that. I swore I've read a report somewhere about them doing that.
It sounds familiar, but I don't kick my finger on it. But anyways, basically we were just kind of talking about just modern day thinking about families, relationships, dating, feminism, kind of all that general stuff is what we really wanted to kind of focus on today.
Yeah.
So
it just kind of popped up, so we figured we'd do another quarantine diaries on it. But yeah, we're gonna keep doing these as long as the shutdown sticks around. I'm hoping that it ends soon and everybody's able to go back to normal and stop telling people to put guns to their head if they disagree. Because people are just jackasses.
Let me just tell the story. I'll tell it on Facebook Live after we end this.
Well, you can, you already mentioned it.
Okay, so basically, we all know from our previous quarantine videos, if you've watched them, if you haven't, go check them out, that we are both on the side of open up. We think that things should be opened up. I personally think that it should be opened up and you should be given the option that if people want to stay home and continue to quarantine themselves and their families and not open their business or not go to their job, like I still think that for a little bit they should be given that choice, right? If they truly have like an anxiety about it or they have a health issue or a family member with one that lives in their home, like for just a reason, just because, like you don't have to explain anything to me. Bottom line is, it should just be your choice. We both know, you guys know that we both think that. We think that government should not come in and say, you have to close your business.
Well, I don't
you
think
can't
they
go
have
to
the
church.
right to.
You can't do this. So we think we should be given back our right to choose, right? So there was a video posted where a woman was saying a very similar sentiment to what we have, and basically saying you're being lied to. The numbers aren't what they said they were. If they really cared, would they really let all these chemicals be put in our processed foods and all this other stuff that's killing us every day? Where are they then? Obviously, it's something bigger than that. Saying, just she was going a little bit overboard and a little bit extreme, but I agreed with the core of what she was saying. So I simply had commented because most people were calling her an idiot and a moron, and she's stupid and she's lying to them. So I just simply commented and said that if you look at history, there has been an epidemic or a pandemic of some kind on other election years. This is an election year. They tend to fall in election years. Have happened for other presidents. But mostly just that at the end of the day, those of us who want the states that we live in to reopen really just want people to be given the option. The people who are destitute at home, who haven't gotten their unemployment yet, or who unemployment isn't enough to support their family, or who have a small business and their business is going under and they're going to go bankrupt. We just want those people
kill themselves
to be given the choice to continue their life, because we have seen through the numbers that we've seen that it isn't as bad as everyone thinks it is. And not to mention we need to get immunity. We're not going to get into all that. Bottom line is, I just simply said...
herd immunity. Yeah.
I just was explaining that just because something is open doesn't mean that if you believe that we should all be quarantined and they open up the parks tomorrow, there's not going to be a police officer showing up at the door holding a gun to your head telling you have to go to the park. Right now, people are being arrested and told they have to go home. So my point was simply, why does everybody have to do what you want them to do? Why can't we just agree, hey, we're different, and I would like to do this, and you would like to do this, and guess what? That's okay. What I go out and do in public, if you are staying in your home, will not affect you because you're at home anyway. So going out into public, that's a risk that you're taking. Even now, you're risking exposure when you go to the grocery store.
How many people are at Walmart every time we go there to get stuff?
And every time we've gone out, the roads look no different, do they?
No.
So that's the point I was making. I didn't even say anything about really much of anything. I was pretty vague. I was just simply pointing out we should be given back the right to choose.
Well, we never really lost it because they didn't have the right to take it.
Right. None of these were laws. These were all guidelines, and they really couldn't arrest you even if you broke them anyway, but some people think they could. Anyways, point is, I just was saying, I respect your choice to stay home and stay away from people. I ask you to respect my differing opinion, and that's it. That's all I had said. And this person comes back at me with, well, who made you the expert? Which I said in my full page-long thing that I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. These are the things I know. These are the things that I don't know.
You just played one in... No.
Just played one in the movie. But anyway, this person came back and said, basically, show me the proof of what you're saying. And if you want to go out and risk yourself and your kids, that's your choice. But you wouldn't be. You'd be risking mine. And I am not okay with that. You want to go out and put a gun to your head and pull the trigger. No one's going to stop you. Trust me. And it went on to say some other stuff. And I just was like, what? And again, it's not like it affected me and I went crying in the bathroom. It more enraged me just because it's like, why does it always have to go there? Why does it always have to be with a certain side? If you don't agree with me, if you don't think like I think, then you're evil, you're some type of ist, you're doing some type of ism, and you should die. I don't want you to endanger my family, but go kill yourself. Like, just the hypocrisy of it, it just blows my mind. So that's what we were talking about. It just, I can't believe that that's how people think it's okay to treat. I don't care what you think. It's not going to change my opinion. And my opinion doesn't change the big picture anyway.
Well, I mean, it could. It depends on their facts. If they've got good facts backing up their opinion,
well, yeah, I mean,
it could change my opinion.
Yes, if I'm open to a dialogue and a discussion, and I'm open to hear why you believe what you believe. My point is, I can get to a point where I can say, okay, I can see. I think what I think, and you think what you think, and we are not going to change each other's minds, but that's okay. I can still respect you as a human. I'm not going to say, good morning to all my friends, unless you disagree with me, and then I hate you. I just don't agree with that mindset. It's not productive. It's not going to do anything to get anyone on your side. It's just negative, and now we really don't need that. We really do need
that.
Love.
Woman's kind of like, I believe you should stick a gun to your head. Change my mind.
Yeah, really. It just is
That's
so
a little
sad.
table and posters.
So, anyways, that's what we were talking about. But hopefully you enjoyed this. Sorry we rambled.
It's all right. That's the whole purpose of the video, anyways. Just extra content for you guys. Like I said, this is all for you guys just to have something to listen to. Trying to put extra stuff out there because I know that I'm not the only one watching a bunch of YouTube videos because I sure as hell don't like the cable. What?
Did you really break that?
No, I just pulled it apart. It's just a little thing. It'll be fine.
Anyway,
all right, but we're going to cut it here.
We are going to try and get the game on the table tomorrow. I know we've been saying that we're going to get it up, and I apologize. But we've been doing these instead. And like I said before, the night is my time. I have 3 kids screaming at me, 4 kids screaming at me from sun up to sundown, asking me to do things for them.
She means me.
So the evenings are for me, but I promise we will get the game up tomorrow, and he'll have the video up. So be looking for that. And if you have any questions or suggestions, comment, like the video, subscribe, and take care of yourself and stay safe and sane and
all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.